every generation, two Prose Bros are born, chosen to watch every episode of Buffy and tell you what they think about them. This is the Prose Bros Visit Sunnydale, Season 3.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Prose Bros Visit Sunnydale. I am Eddie Cruz.
And I'm Jeff.
And today we are doing episode 5 of season 3, Homecoming.
Yeah.
You remember your homecoming dance?
I didn't go to mine. I went to Eastwoods. And apparently there was some sort of like weird, I don't know, prom night Carrie thing going on where they elected the prom or homecoming queen, somebody who was unpopular. I didn't know any of these fuckers, so I didn't know.
Oh, they really did that?
Yeah, it was like a big deal.
I thought you meant like the theme of the prom was Carrie, which I was like, that's awesome.
It was like some practical joke that had to be explained to me, and I was like, all right, well, that's dick. But
yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Did they douse her in pig's blood and then she killed everybody?
If they did, I was like, hey, can we leave now? I don't want to be here.
I don't want to die.
But a homecoming wasn't so bad because I didn't know anybody, so I could give a shit.
Yeah.
About whatever clique or whatever the fuck is going on.
I don't remember if I went or not. Yeah, I did. I did go to homecoming. I went with a girl I went once. I was a sophomore and I went with a junior and I got a raging boner. I asked her to dance. And you know how like tux material, like the pants are really like thin. Well, like the boner was like sticking out, and I was trying to hide it, but it was kind of impossible. And
you didn't like put it above the waistband.
Well,
or anything,
the thing is that like you have to put your hand in your pants to do that, or like have some maneuvering, and there was no time, man. I didn't get the boner like an hour before I started dancing with her. I was dancing with her, and I was gonna be like, "Excuse me," reach my hand in my pants and pull my dick into the belt.
You couldn't be all like, oh, excuse me, do you want something to drink? Do you, I don't know, make an excuse to fix yourself, leave and fix yourself? No, I didn't. We had barely started dancing. I figured that would be. I was just trying not to get close enough to her so it'd like penetrate. So then, what did she do? What happened?
Oh, it rubbed up against her leg, and then she wanted to go sit down, and I was like, "That's totally cool." She was probably like the first girl I ever like touched on the shoulders, besides like playing spin the bottle and kissing.
Like, oh my god, touching you on the shoulder gave me the biggest boner.
Just like came immediately.
Yeah,
so sad.
If you did, then that would have solved the boner problem.
Oh,
would have gone away.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it didn't.
Okay. Yeah, so. Your homecoming story is.
That was the last time I went to homecoming.
So basically you're saying Cordelia's and Buffy's story could have been worse. It could have ended up with some awkward dude with a boner. I was going to
say they could have had awkward boners.
Yeah.
Instead. So what was this episode about, Jeff?
Homecoming.
Okay.
No boners.
Mm.
So this starts out at the Bronze, and we instantly get the message it's homecoming, and Buffy's sad. You can tell Buffy's clearly sad. I originally thought that, wait, did Scott break up with her already? And no, of course, we didn't. So we have this scene that's basically establishing everything that's going on. It's homecoming, and Cordy wants to be homecoming queen, and they're all going to share a limo together. Meanwhile, Buffy goes to the mansion. The mansion, right? Is it a mansion?
It was, yeah, you know, the I guess it always comes back up. It's a mansion, but it's always different.
Should we figure out or just keep, every time this setting comes up, should we just keep making shit up?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's never going to be resolved. I'm not going to be one of those people that just keeps on like, I don't know. Let's just pretend it was on purpose. I don't know. Or that Sunnydale is one of those, it's the city of leaves.
Okay. Either way, it's Angel's mansion, right? Or the mansion he's staying in.
The mansion inside of, like, near the cemetery where they always go to do Tai Chi.
Sure. Buffy goes to bring Angel blood, which is kind of the equivalent of bringing your significant other soup when they're sick, as I saw it.
Yeah, I guess. Or like, I mean, in this case, it's like bringing somebody dinner of any sort.
But soup could be considered dinner.
Yeah, but soup is more like you're sick.
He is sick.
Is he?
Yeah.
I thought he's just like, fucked up.
I mean,
like if somebody's always depressed, I guess that's sick. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
A form of sickness. She's trying to make
PTSD.
him better.
He's got PTSD. Right. Yeah, he's sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Too sick to button his shirt up all the way.
Oh, yeah, he's got the Marlon Brando thing going. You know what's funny is it's like, it kind of feels like they're trying to be this like, oh, he's still stuck in the 50s fashion, but 50s guys would have an undershirt under that and wouldn't have done that just open bare shirt.
Are they trying to do that?
It seems like, right?
I thought they were just trying to show David Boreanaz with, I don't know, show his abs and
What's
shit.
really funny is because he kind of has abs, but he doesn't really have good pecs, right?
I guess. Better than mine.
Yeah, better than mine. I have full-on titties, but that's not... I mean, I would hold them to a higher standard than...
If you're on TV and you're shirtless, you should have better pecs.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if your body looked like that, you would be disappointed? That's a question.
No. But I'm holding him to a higher standard than what I would want. I'm just saying.
I mean, I guess if your acting is poor...
Mm-hmm.
You might as well have your shirt off so random dudes can discuss your physique instead of your acting skills.
Absolutely.
That's what's going on.
We have to judge them upon something, and there's just nothing going on in the acting world.
Okay. So that scene is here basically so Buffy can say, hey, nobody knows about you. Giles doesn't know. I'm seeing somebody, and I'm really happy. I'm stoked on him, and basically we can't do this.
I think that was kind of fucked up because of the fact that he's not really talking right now. He's kind of in this whole like, I'm so hurt from hell and being in hell.
I'm so hurt from hell.
I'm so hurt from hell and being in hell that I don't want to talk right now. And she's just kind of dishing all this stuff out when she clearly knows he's not going to defend himself.
But she needs to do that for herself. I felt it was more her telling him, like, hey, or almost her telling herself, like, I'm with this guy, nothing can happen. Not necessarily that she loves him, but...
Well, if somebody you loved came back from hell and you really loved them, would your first immediate thought be like, how can I defend this in my own head as to why I'm not going to be with him right away? Like, it just seems like... She would just you're nurse him back to health.
Yeah, but you're editing all the horrible stuff he did as Angel Lewis. That's all rolled into it. Their relationship is so complicated that she does love him, but I'm sure she wants to keep her distance.
Okay, I can get behind that. Yeah, that's a good. Thank you. Yeah,
You're welcome.
If they were on MySpace, they would check it's complicated under relationship status.
MySpace, what is it, 10 years ago?
Yeah. I don't think Facebook has an It's Complicated button.
Oh, I don't know. So meanwhile, Buffy's going on about how much she's happy with Scott. The very next scene is at school and Scott breaks up with her.
The edit of it was in such a way that he immediately says like, hey, I think we should break up. And this is right after him asking her to homecoming in the first place.
Was that supposed to be... Well, he was kind of guilted into it, and that makes sense why they're all talking about homecoming in that very first scene. And they're like, oh, did Scott ask you? He hasn't asked you yet.
Yeah.
Makes sense. He's going to break up with her, so that's why he's not going to. Did you think this scene was supposed to be funny?
I'm not sure. I guess maybe funny. It's definitely like... exposition, and it gives you a sense of what's going on in their lives, and then backs out and you have those two identical twin horrible actors that are sitting in the van watching all of it, right? So it kind of just sets the whole, surrounding what's going on, who are the bad guys, it's homecoming, these people are going together, these people aren't going together, Buffy is going with Scott, now she's not going with Scott, it just everything's thrown into the mix.
It just, I thought the way they cut that was very, very strange.
It wasn't, it wasn't funny. If it was supposed to be funny, then it failed. And if it wasn't supposed to be funny, then it's kind of awkward the way that they did it.
Yeah. But seeing it now, I was kind of relieved because I was like, oh, fuck yes, no more Scott.
Yeah, you really hate Scott, huh?
I don't like him. He's fucking boring. And by the way, we were talking about this earlier. Scott's last name is Hope.
Oh, yeah, and that's why they call it Faith, Hope, and Trick. And I was saying how, like, that's kind of like having one of the, like, a family picture with a stranger in it. Like, like your sister comes to dinner with, like, a boyfriend or something. Like, not your sister, but a sister. With, like, a random dude, and he ends up in your Christmas photo. And you're like, God damn it. He's now in the first episode that Faith, like, the title of it, he's in that.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It makes more sense, but we were saying it makes us like the title a lot less.
Yeah. I thought Hope was literally the concept of hope.
I did too, which was still kind of bizarre, but I liked
weird.
it.
It didn't fit great, but I liked it more than this.
I was like, Faith, is Faith like a new hope?
I hope he never comes back.
Yeah.
I guess Faith gets him back pretty well later. We'll get to that.
Yeah. So what you mentioned earlier, all this is viewed from a surveillance van by these two German twins.
Yeah.
And we find out right after that Trick has enlisted all these hunters for a specific target, which is
It's kind
the
of
Slayers.
brilliant, right? He like essentially made I guess you could call it like a festival for assassins.
Slayer Fest.
Slayer Fest.
I'm not sure what to call them. Like, are they assassins? Are they hunters? What is this? This seems like more sport than it does like brutal killing. It's a contest.
It's also their festival attendees, right? I mean, they had to pay. Did you?
No, I guess I must have missed
there was
that.
an entrance fee. Remember, Gorch, like he pours out a bag of money.
Right. So yeah, I guess
they all have to pay to be in this shit.
It's a competition.
It's fucking brilliant. This guy Trick is dope. This is the best idea he can have ever. He's like, I'm going to kill off our greatest threat, and I'm going to do it by having people pay me to do it for me.
Because anybody else would hire assassins.
And well, I'm assuming that most of that money goes to the winner as well.
Well,
some of it at least.
Most, but who knows?
Yeah,
it's a great idea.
But the Gorch brothers back, and I was pretty stoked about that.
Yeah,
he was a great character, and
he was.
Yeah,
I guess we'll get to that later on. So after that, we see the mayor. Finally, we're inside the mayor's office, and they're talking about what's going on with Fred and Hans, these German hunters, contest attendees. I don't know what the fuck you want to call them.
You essentially get the sense that the mayor has his feelers out in the whole city and knows everything that's going on.
And there's hints of that with Snyder.
Yeah,
like
he essentially has people everywhere telling him what's going on.
He's like, oh, the mayor, which is kind of cool, but at the same time, to see the mayor, I remember the mayor as being like this awesome character, and right now this introduction, at least I feel, was kind of lacking.
I kind of loved that about him. He's so dangerous because he's so unassuming. Like, he's not the kind of guy that's going to come directly after you, and he doesn't look the part of a grand evil villain.
It makes sense as a politician.
Yeah.
Right? Politicians potentially can be these evil people with God knows what ideas and agendas they're trying to pull. And at face value, it's all smiles and let's make sure our hands are clean sort of thing. That was one thing I really did love, that comment about you have to make sure your hands are clean. Like, that's just like
first
a metaphor for everything he's doing as a politician.
Yeah.
Whatever you're going to do, make sure your hands are clean. He means it literally at this point, but I think as an audience member, we're supposed to read into it and be like, okay, this is the type of guy he is.
To clarify, as soon as his assistant walks in, he immediately pulls out hand towelettes and is like, you want a hand towelette? And then starts talking about the guy's cleanliness and how much he's cleaning his hands.
So back at school, it's picture day. And Cordelia is back in this mentality of she's Queen Bee again. She wants to be the homecoming queen. That's her goal for this episode, which is kind of nice because we get to see Cordelia essentially start to become a villain again, in a way.
Not
at least for
really
this.
A villain, but
adversary.
Definitely back to her roots. right? She's back to being the strong, I mean, I guess adversary, but the thing is that she's not really threatening Buffy. It's that she's like essentially competing with her.
And it's almost like Buffy's threatening her, at least her territory, what she knows of the world.
Yeah. But I would say it's friendly competition, but it's really not. But
No, not at all.
It's also not like, life-threatening competition. And because there's like a big bad, it's like Cordelia is just like a little thorn in Buffy's paw. But at the same time, it's more like Buffy's a thorn in Cordelia's paw.
Yeah, I feel it's more that than... Because Cordelia is doing what Cordelia would normally do.
Yeah.
And Buffy's the one who's intruding in Cordelia's lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So we get some more of Cordelia saying that she's going to be homecoming queen. In the library, Faith and Buffy are talking about the dance and how they should go together.
Yeah.
So that's going to establish two things, in my opinion. One thing for sure, and one thing that I'll ask you and see how you feel. The first thing is that they're going to go together and they're going to be in this limo. So that just puts Faith with Buffy for what happens later on. Mm-hmm. The second thing is, was Faith kind of flirting or hitting on Buffy?
I didn't see that.
This is something a lot of people bring up about Faith throughout the series hitting on Buffy.
I think if Faith is actually trying to seduce Buffy, it's not sexually. I think she's trying to maybe seduce her to get into Faith's point of view and start maybe having fun with Faith the way Faith has fun. Trying to seduce her to the dark side of, teen adolescence or whatever.
I'll say this. Maybe it's something like in Arrested Development Season 4 with Will Arnett and Ben Stiller's characters, where they realize they have a fun time hanging out together and they've never had a friend, so they think it's sexual.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I definitely don't think that Buffy is seeing it as a sexual thing.
Oh, Buffy? No, not at all.
No. And Faith, I don't know, man. Once again, she has this complex sexual behavior.
Yeah. So right after that, Buffy has a scene with one of her favorite teachers. And I don't know what the fuck this teacher was teaching. Something that seemed way too epic for high school.
Yeah, she says the name of it, and I was like, they don't teach that in high school. It's like Theory of Heroes in Forgotten Landscapes or Histories.
Yeah, it was like English or reading.
Comp class, Comp 1, Comp 2, Comp 3, you graduated.
So this teacher has no idea who the fuck Buffy was, in kind of a dick way. Like, yeah, what was up with this teacher?
It was unnecessary. If I was a teacher and a student came up to me asking me questions, I would be like, oh, well, if you would come to I would totally, wag the dog. If I forgot her, I'd pretend like I remembered her at least. Right? You know why? Because common decency.
But maybe she understands the rules of Sunnydale and Buffy the Vampire Slayer in general. It's like, oh shit, that's Buffy. If I'm nice to her, I'm going to fucking die.
Yeah, maybe she knows that. Maybe she knows the rules. And I commend her on not dying. And also, Buffy later on, she has a boner for Professor Walsh. So she tends to have crushes on teachers that are kind of dickheads, right? I mean, she tends to be like, oh, I love this teacher. And the teacher turns out to be like horrible monster creator or parasite. I don't know. Not parasite. What are those things called?
I don't know what you're doing.
It's an insect that eats the head.
Eddie's moving his index finger up and down. Praying mantis?
Yeah, parasite.
You could have said the insect that Xander dated in season 1.
Yeah, I wasn't working that way. I was working with my index finger.
Okay, yeah, that's... I mean, we still got to what it was.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, teacher was unnecessarily an asshole. Mm-hmm. Buffy goes and hangs out with all the Scoobies in the cafeteria, and she's lamenting her place in school.
Yeah, and then to ruin it more, Xander brings up the fact that she forgot picture day.
Yeah.
So she officially is no longer going to be in the yearbook.
Because Buffy says, it's something along the lines of like, well, at least I'll have this to remember or
She's like,
later
at least
on.
I'll be in one page.
Yeah,
And he's
which-
like, well, guess what? You're not even going to be in that one because you missed picture day. And he's like, didn't Cordelia tell you? She was supposed to be telling you. At the same time, I would assume that not everybody gets told. Like, Cordelia has to go around telling everybody in the school. Like, picture day is just picture day. You show up or you don't.
Yeah,
It's like third period or something. That's it.
Again, this is another one of these Buffy plot points. It's like, really? You're going to enlist Xander, the least reliable person, and then to tell Cordelia? Like, of course, I don't understand why Buffy was that... Well, no, I take it back. I do understand why Buffy was upset, but it's misplaced anger.
Absolutely.
Which right after that, she goes and confronts Cordelia.
And
says,
Cordelia's kind of not having it because she's in, campaign mode.
and why the fuck is it Cordelia's problem?
It's not. It's not at all. And the fact that Buffy's losing, she is having a rough week, Loss after loss after loss. It sucks, man, but it's kind of, chalk it up to her being the Slayer is the truth. And I would argue that Faith has it worse than Buffy, right? I mean, this whole time, where has Faith been? Probably hanging out alone in a fucking hotel room.
With that, not sleazy, but yeah,
Pretty
semi-sleazy.
Yeah, like sleazy enough to like maybe give you a roofie while he smokes you out. That guy's not cool.
Bill
You don't want-
Cosby?
Yeah. You don't want Faith hanging out with that guy.
I mean, I guess that's where she's at. Also, if Joyce liked Faith so much and they all like Faith, why didn't they say, hey, you can stay
Stay with us.
Maybe not Giles.
I can
can understand why Giles.
Definitely stay with Giles. He's a watcher.
Well,
I get it. Yes, I get it. But I would assume that Giles would be good enough to not fucking pull his willy out of his raft.
I'm not even saying
Is that
that.
a British term? Willy, pulling your willy out of your raft?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure. I'm going with it.
I think you made that up. Really out of your raft. Raft?
I don't know.
What is? Okay. No, I wasn't even saying that. I just think it would look bad to have a teenage girl stay at your place if
Yeah.
you're employed at a school.
I agree with you, but that's everything Giles does. And in this world, nobody's looking out for that, man. Nobody. Even ghosts are having like relationships with their students. Nobody cares.
And I guess that makes sense. It's like, well, this guy has already had somebody murdered at his place. He's obviously not going to molest a child. She should just stay there.
Yeah. Also, like teachers are dying left and right and seducing students and keeping them in cages, and nobody's done anything about that either.
No.
I mean, Buffy.
Or we can all say it's the mayor. He's got, he has that all under control.
Yeah, it might be.
So I want to say one more thing about Cordelia and Buffy, at least in this scene. Why does Buffy expect so much out of Cordy? She is constantly mean to her, and she doesn't respect her. So why should she expect Cordelia to come up to her and be like, hey, Buffy, it's picture day? If there were a scene where Cordelia did that, chances are Buffy would just be mean to her
Yeah.
and insult her or be super dismissive. So they don't mention that in the show. Cordelia doesn't. But she could easily be like, you're rude to me all the time. You're kind of an asshole to me because I'm dating your friend and you think I'm an idiot.
Yeah. She calls her a vapid whore?
Yeah. Well, Well,
Okay, I do want to... we'll get to that, but first, Cordelia calls or asks Buffy, you want to relive the glory days of becoming the guacamole queen when you were 3? What the fuck is a guacamole queen number 1?
I think it's a reference to something that Buffy did when she was younger. Wasn't she some sort of... Didn't they mention she was like... Was she a pageant winner or something? Right? Isn't that a reference to something? It's got to be.
Yeah, I think she was like a pageant winner or something like that. Something of that sort.
I don't know. Does it even matter? Or is it just something fucked up for Cordelia to say?
I just thought it might be a Hispanic... Sorry. I thought it just might be a diss towards Mexicans. And I was like, that's fucked up, bro.
But to like a little white girl?
Yeah, I know. That's where it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's where everything fell apart.
So after that, we're at another mansion, an evil mansion. And I only say that because they do that. That's when they cut to the scene there's that laugh.
Yeah. Wahaha! 1 potato, 2 potatoes. Wahaha!
The count, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So at this evil mansion, it looks a lot nicer than Angel's evil mansion.
Yeah, because that one's in the cemetery and doesn't have clear walls. Like there's just open spaces to outside.
And everything's hung up with wall anchors. Mm-hmm. Nobody can find a fucking stud except for Angel when he takes his shirt off.
Yeah.
Doo-doons. Okay. So at this evil mansion, Trick is explaining to all these
Contestants?
contestants. There we go. Perfect word.
Attendants?
I'm going to go with contestants of the Slayer Fest. The rules, which include the remaining Gorch brother and his new wife.
Yeah, Candy Gorch.
Candy Gorch. He found her at a vampire strip club. Mm-hmm. Maybe the one from Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I tried my hardest to think of a vampire strip club, and I was like, there's got to be one. I was like, boom. Thank you, Robert Rodriguez, for vampire strip clubs.
That was an excellent movie. I went to go see that movie with my dad. It was the most awkward thing ever when Selma Hayek gets full naked pants.
Yeah, I saw Species with my dad, and
That's essentially Alien with dicks, like with a lot of sex in it.
Every time there was a scene, he would like elbow me. I'm like, yes, Dad.
Isn't that the worst, right? Like your dad like having a moment where he's teaching his son, but you're like, the internet exists. I've already seen everything. Leave me alone.
Although, if I have a son, I'm going to do the same fucking thing. So after that scene, Willow and Xander are getting ready for homecoming in Willow's room. And normally, this would be fine because they're friends. But there's something, there's this, would you say tension there?
Yeah,
sexual tension?
It's the first time it's been created. It's created, they have the music going on in the back. They've essentially set the tone that sex is a-coming.
Yeah, it's an intimate moment. They're dressing, and it starts to get, I would say, more and more intimate. They have a scene where they're both complimenting each other on how they look. And with Xander's a horny fucking teenager. So,
yeah.
I mean, he would be the dude at homecoming with the boner.
You're saying that he'd be me?
I guess like all of us.
Ah.
Like I've said before, geek every man.
Yeah, he definitely is.
So at this point, Willow is clearly interested in him. There's a long scene where they're talking about Cordelia and Buffy and everything in between that we kind of talked over.
Yeah, it was too much, man.
But they're building this moment.
Yeah, the moment of basically whether or not the moment of basically them kissing.
It gets to the point where Willow's like, I don't even know if I can dance. And of course, Xander's all like...
also right after him being like, you look gorgeous. Definitely seeing her in a new light.
Is he, though, or is he just like a horny boy?
Well, I mean, he's had all this opportunity to see her. Or maybe it's just because she took off the overalls.
Yeah,
she took off the overalls and he was like, holy shit, you're a woman?
It's like, she's all that. The overalls are gone. You're hot.
You took off your glasses and overalls? Oh my God. You're super dope.
So they start dancing for Willow to learn. And was it Xander that leaned in for a kiss? Or was it her?
Both leaned in. It was mutual. Like she starts leaning. I mean, he doesn't really lean in. She tilts up and then goes for it.
So how do you feel about this moment and the build? It's been a long time coming for them, and it should be something that we're like, yay, Willow and Xander finally together, but it's weird because they both have significant others.
I think that was the definite payoff, right? That they finally are interested in each other. It's maybe almost because, I mean, just throwing this out there, do you think maybe it's because they're subconsciously trying to break off what they have with their significant others? I kind of feel like that's the case.
It could be. I think there's definitely an argument for that. You could also say, and I was thinking more along the lines, it's like, oh, It's something where somebody's dating somebody else, and it's like, oh, this person sees some sort of value in you. Now I see that same value. It's like a weird sort of, I wouldn't call it jealousy.
Yeah, I can see I can see that.
I don't know. It was very weird, and I think when I first watched this season, I was like, cool, Willow and Xander together. But now it's like, oh man, what the fuck are you guys doing?
It's
However, they are kids.
kind of clearly a mistake, and I think that they're really pointing that out. The fact that this is clearly a mistake, and everybody involved knows it, you know?
But
I
they're
think
still not doing anything to correct it, at least at this point.
Yeah, at least at this point. And I also think that it's maybe a conscious choice from the writer's perspective, in the sense that they don't want them to end up together, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really like this scene. It felt like a long time coming, and then all of a sudden it just happened. And it's not that it felt forced. It definitely seemed like something two teenagers getting undressed and dressed in a room that could happen.
Yeah, that it felt realistic in that sense. And yeah, it's an unfortunate time for something that we all wanted to happen earlier on to happen. It's kind of like the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. It didn't happen when we wanted it to happen.
When it finally happened, it was disappointing.
Exactly. It's a shell of what it could have been.
Yeah, that's amazing. So after that, the Scoobies are in the library, and Buffy is swatting Cordelia, her competition for homecoming queen.
Buffy's in full-on campaign mode. I kind of feel like she doesn't have enough time to be doing this.
She
pulls
needs
down like a white erase board. She's got pictures of everybody.
She needs Jared
classifying
from
them.
Silicon Valley.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Jared from Subway, and I was like, for what?
She needs Jared from Silicon Valley and Jared from Subway. Jared from Subway's worth will be proven later in a way I don't understand yet. I don't think any of us do, but he'll come in handy later.
I don't see how.
He's a mystery.
Yeah, but slowly, essentially, Cordelia comes in, and as Buffy is assigning what each person in the Scooby Gang is going to do to help her win, Cordelia starts dividing them out, right? She's like, Willow, how's my database going? Because everything needs a database. And Xander, come here and fillet me.
Which is amazing because Cordelia does something some of these other big bads and Buffy villains are unable to do, which is divide and conquer with the Scoobies.
Yeah.
And she was able to do that instantly. So if she was ever truly evil, she could fuck everything up. Part of the reason I think why it was so easy to divide and conquer the Scoobies is you can see that Willow and Xander, they're visibly upset. They're not themselves. And of course, Xander feels bad, or at least I think that Xander feels bad enough that he wants to help his girlfriend because he's like, oh, I fucked up. I just cheated on her.
Yeah.
And Willow feels bad, and I don't know why she would help Cordelia, but maybe just out of guilt. So I think that was a big part of it, too.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. They're both helping each other out. They're both helping her essentially out of guilt at this point. And also because maybe she asked them first. And because it's really probably not very important to either one of them who wins when it really comes down to it.
Yeah, it's very selfish, which is normally Cordy's MO, and it's a little weird for Buffy to be that into it.
I think Xander is just always a winner because he's banging Cordy and gets to see what's under Willow's underoos.
He's the biggest winner for a supposed loser.
Yeah. Yeah.
We get a new potential Slayer power. Mm-hmm. The ability to break glass and not get cut.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got that tough skin.
Yeah.
Tough Slayer skin.
Which, I don't know if they needed that.
Yeah, it goes away after this episode.
Yeah. That never happens again.
She never breaks glass again.
Did that look cool?
I don't know. It was kind of once again a joke that fell flat. Like this whole thing of like this episode's trying to be funny and failing miserably at it.
Yeah. Fuck. That's what it is. After this, we have a montage, which I think is the first montage we've seen in Buffy.
There's even like an 80s song to go with it. It's not really an 80s song.
It's not 80s.
In my head, it turned into one. Well, I went to go get a beer, so I didn't even see the montage.
And not even like, hey, Jeff, pause this so I can get a beer. It's like, all right, I know what's going on here.
I heard the music, and I just got up and strolled to the kitchen. Didn't even think twice.
It's not 80s. It's very typical 90s alternative. So what happens in the montage, Buffy and Cordy are both campaigning. Mm-hmm. They're getting bought off. People are getting brownies, snacks, whatever the fuck. And the hunters are training. Scott shows up and says that he's going to vote for Buffy, which I don't even know why we need to bring Scott back in.
Well, why do we need to know his last name? Why is it the title of an episode?
Do you think they were going to do more with him?
Fuck
they
that
must
guy.
have.
Yeah, and then they realize, like, he's not a very strong actor. He's not a strong character. His last name is Hope.
I mean, Scott has a last name.
Pete.
Angel doesn't have a last name.
Well, he does, right? They
Does he?
eventually say it's Liam something, right?
Well, what is the something, though?
I don't know.
Liam something. Liam Mix something.
Maybe he's Liam Gallagher of Oasis.
Okay. So he's Liam Gallagher.
And then when it's supernova in the sky.
Isn't it funny that both Spike and Angel...
Champagne supernova.
Spike and Angel are both Williams?
They're both fucking Serena Williams?
That's not what I said.
Oh, what?
They're both Williams.
Who? Spike and Angel?
Yeah. Liam and William. Their names.
Is Liam William?
Yeah. Liam is short for William.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's
Really?
mind-blowing.
Seriously?
Yeah, dude. I did not know that. You just blew my mind.
Obviously, you don't have friends that are named William because all their kids are Liam.
In a champagne supernova in the sky.
Okay, so back at school, Buffy guilts Willow into helping her again.
Uh-huh.
And in this scene, Cordelia shows up and they start to argue and have a pretty fucked up argument, at least on Buffy's side. I think Cordy is being mean, but typical mean Cordy.
Yeah, she mentions what? She's like, you don't have two parents.
Oh, actually, that was kind of fucked up.
That was really fucked up, actually. Yeah, she's like, your parents are divorced and it's your fault. And spit on her. None of that happened.
Well, the two parents
Yeah, the
did.
two parents thing happened.
It would have been... It's fucked up, but it would have been more fucked up if her dad was deceased.
Yeah, it would have been worse if her dad was dead.
I thought it was fucked up for Buffy to call Cordelia a vapid whore.
Yeah. And that's also kind of fucked up to Xander, too, right? Like...
And I think this goes back to my whole thing. Buffy does not like Cordelia. She just tolerates her. So why should she expect Cordelia to be nice to her?
Yeah,
They really treat her like shit.
It's almost like Buffy can't drop the fact that Cordelia was so mean to her when she first got to the school. Like, Buffy's not very forgiving.
Well, I think of it like this. Buffy, back in the day before she was a Slayer, was popular. She was Cordelia. She was basically like a mean girl. Like a mean girl in her school. So she still has that in her. It's a mean girl who became the Slayer. She just realized that there's things that are more important than homecoming, but not until the end of this episode.
Yeah.
She's still dealing with being like, I want to be the popular person. And that's like essentially what this episode is. She's still dealing with like, I want a regular life. I want to be popular. I want to have a mark that isn't being a Slayer. And that's been like kind of beaten over our heads.
I want to have a legacy that's normal.
Yeah, I think, at least as far as the high school stuff goes, I'm kind of tired of it. I'm kind of done.
It's one of those things where we've had so much talk about it. There's so much talk about how hard it is for Buffy to be both a high school student and the Slayer. We got it. We got it. It's hard.
I like that. Got it. Understand.
It's like really hard.
So after that, we have another scene where Xander and Willow are in Willow's room. So if it was a mistake, maybe they shouldn't go back to the scene of the crime.
Yeah, and also like they're treating it the way that a cheating married couple would do it, right?
Very
like,
casually.
Yeah, they go into a room and talk about how sorry they are to do it, but at the same time, she's like, "I can't stop thinking about your lips," and it's like, "Calm down, dude. If that's really the truth, maybe you guys shouldn't be in the same room, like you just said."
Yeah. So they're having a talk about Buffy and Cordelia and kind of discussing the repercussions of their case, but not really. Not really at all.
They're more kind of figuring out how to hide it.
Yeah. So after that, we get to what I see as the third act, what actually happens, the action scenes in this episode.
Of all the setup.
Yeah. Buffy and Cordelia are together alone in the limo. Mm-hmm. And they're alone because all of the Scoobies thought that it'd be wise if they could work out all their shit on their own, which I guess includes Faith. I guess she's...
I was about to say, it's really fucked up that Buffy made plans with Faith, who has no other friends and no other family in town, and then completely broke them off in order to become homecoming queen.
But also, I could see it that maybe Faith just blew her off too.
I think that Faith would see it like that, and Buffy would see it like that. Like, Faith would be like, "No, I'm not going to go since blah, blah, blah." But deep down inside, Faith is so lonely that she lets the mayor end up becoming her friend. This whole time...
I haven't seen the rest of the season, dude.
This whole time, Buffy is dropping the ball. This is where she could have stopped Faith from becoming evil, in my opinion. I think by not creating and establishing an actual relationship with Faith here is why Faith turns evil. And it's really kind of to blame on Buffy and the Scoobies not making a harder effort to be her friend.
I will say, I don't think it's Buffy's responsibility to help Faith. It should be a watcher, somebody else. Buffy's going through a hard enough time too. And granted, she can relate and be her friend, but why is it all on her?
It's not all on her, but at the same time, knowing what happens later, it seems like it would have been easier just for her to try to be a closer friend of Faith. Not even a closer friend, just somebody that looks after her then. If you can't be friends with her, at least watch. You're the Slayer. You can watch over her.
But Buffy's kind of a shitty friend.
Yeah, she is. That's my point.
Okay.
That's my whole point, is just saying, like, she could have actually...
But I'm not blaming her for being a shitty friend.
Well, I'm not. You're not blaming her for turning Faith evil.
Yeah.
But she is a shitty friend.
Yes.
And if she wasn't, maybe Faith wouldn't have turned evil.
Maybe, but there's a lot of
Buffy's
maybes.
Fault? Not really.
Yeah,
but
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of maybes involved. I think Giles maybe could have done a better job at being the adult and taking care of somebody who clearly needs it. She wanted a father figure and found it in the mayor. That could have been Wesley. That could have been Giles. Wesley doesn't exist yet, but...
he does soon, damn it.
Yeah. I think next episode. At any rate, Cordy and Buffy are in a limo, and the hunters, the contestants of Slayerfest, follow them out to nowhere. They get out, and there's a videotape playing in the middle of nowhere of Trick.
Yeah. Number one, where's the power to that? Is it a generator? I guess it'd be a generator. Whatever. It blows up. The video essentially says, "Hey, guess what, guys? You're being hunted. And in 30 seconds, 17 seconds, you're about to die. So good luck, Slayers." And then the TV explodes because one of the two identical bad acting twins,
Hans and Fred,
shoot the TV and it explodes.
I kind of like the theatrics of this from Trick, and it makes me think that he never actually intended for the Slayer to die. This is just a ruse for him to get money and to test her.
Maybe
because he never really took it that seriously.
I think you might be right in the sense that number one, he doesn't take it seriously, and number two, I don't think he thought it was going to work. You know?
Yeah.
I think that he understands what he's up against.
It's a test, and he's smart enough at this point to realize that Karkitos wasn't able to do shit and went in all guns blazing. Maybe he just kind of gets a feel for what these Slayers are like and how strong they are, really.
Yeah, and also being a modern vampire, he's really into reality TV.
A modern vampire.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
If he had a band, it'd be Modern Vampire.
Modern vampire. So both Buffy and Cordelia are being hunted through the woods. And they get attacked by the wolf hunter, which we thought was Kane.
Now, I think.
Well, you thought was Kane.
I thought it was Kane, and I think they just couldn't get the same actor back to play Kane, so they just renamed him something else because he's wearing essentially exactly what Kane wore.
Well, it's the necklace of teeth, and I would assume that werewolf hunters, it's like they're, I don't know, a society that's their reward or whatever.
You wear pellets and teeth.
But really, that actor couldn't come back to reprise that role?
He had to do like NIS San Francisco or whatever.
NCIS?
NCIS Boulder, Colorado or whatever it is.
They're just busting a bunch of like potheads.
Season 19.
So I would only say no to that. I was like, that dude doesn't do shit. They must have been able to get him, right?
Yeah.
And anyway.
Either way,
Buffy...
an identical character.
Yeah. So he gets caught in a bear trap that he set himself. Buffy and Cordelia find an abandoned cabin in the middle of the woods that apparently Sunnydale has. Cordy kind of admits to loving Xander in a weird way, which makes me feel awful for what happened earlier.
Yeah.
But
it's the second time she's professed her love in a dire situation for Xander. First time was in the swim team episode when she's at the pool and she kind of professes how much she likes him and how she's still going to be his friend and feed him fish or whatever.
Yeah. Does that make that less or more genuine that this happens in moments of fear?
I would argue less genuine. At the same time, I think that she really truly does care about him. I think the fact that she can only express it when she's in dire need, and the same thing with their affection towards each other when their lives are threatened.
It's situational.
Yeah, situational. Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So after that, Cordy and Buffy call Giles for help because Cordy says that she found a spatula and a phone.
Telephone.
And of course, Buffy's like, really? The spatula? Which comes in handy, and it's way more handy than Buffy thought it was going to be. And it's a wooden spatula.
It's a wooden spatula. Also, who's been paying the phone bill in this abandoned cabin for this long?
Here's a question for you. I feel like a young old man in the way that I don't understand how phones work anymore. If you have a phone plugged in, can you still call 911, or do you have to pay a phone bill to call 911?
If the phone is still active but just turned off, you can call 911, I'm pretty sure, from an...
But how would a basic phone be turned off? You mean the phone line?
Yeah, the phone line.
Okay.
Like, you don't have a number, essentially.
So if you
if you don't pay your phone bill, you don't have a dial tone. Without a dial tone, you can't dial out.
Was there also electricity in this cabin?
I would assume so, right? They're not just hovering around in the dark.
So it's not abandoned. Maybe it's like some random shitty vacation
We're
cabin?
going to go ahead and say it's Jason Voorhees' cabin.
But then again, who's paying for it? His mom?
Sure, why not?
Okay. At any rate, they call Giles for help. And Cordy and Buffy discuss the reasons why they both want to be homecoming queen. Of course, Cordelia, this is in her wheelhouse, and Buffy admits she wants something more than just being a slayer.
She wants to relive the old glory days.
Which is, I guess, understandable for a teenage girl to not want so much responsibility. But she's a fucking superhero. That's like...
Yeah, I mean, I was about to ask you... do you think that this is... I mean, who do you side with here? I tend to side with Cordelia. I feel like Buffy is taking away the only thing that makes Cordy special. Whereas Buffy is uber special because she's a slayer.
Yeah, this is what Cordelia does. This is what she is good at, supposedly. Mm-hmm. And Buffy wants to come in and be special because she's a slayer, special because all her friends, all all the Scoobies, all this clique, they all like her better than Cordelia.
Not
and
only
she
that,
even wants to take that away.
everybody in the clique's lives revolve around Buffy. She is the sun of this group, right?
Yeah.
Anything that she has to go through, they all have to go through. She is essentially the center of this universe.
But I think they all like that.
Yes, I
Hence,
agree.
earlier
but
episodes, them all
Cordelia's
slaying.
just a moon.
She doesn't.
Like, Cordelia is just a moon around Xander, who's a planet. And Cordelia has one thing, popularity. And Buffy's taking it from her.
Yeah.
But Cordelia looks better in this episode and all episodes, so...
Oh, amazing.
Na,
I don't know
na,
about
na,
all
na,
episodes.
Yeah, there's some where Buffy brings her A game.
Maybe I'm just arguing for the sake of arguing. So in the cabin, Spiky Demon attacks, and then Hans and Franz blow up the cabin with it's a grenade launcher?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Essentially, Terminator 2, when Arnold Schwarzenegger had that, like, thumper thing that go thump and then blow up police cars. He's, like, has a minigun and all that thing. One of those little, I guess, grenades from that gun.
I did like this scene, even though it was kind of stupid. The Spiky Demon, which I don't understand why he was so good, why he was selected, other than the fact that he could take little spiky things from his head and throw them. That seems like a bullshit-ass power.
And they were like the worst CGI ever. It was like throwing, I don't know, the bad guy from Lawnmower Man at people.
And he also can't tell when a window is boarded up.
Yeah. He tries to jump out the window's boarded up, he falls back inside with a grenade and blows up with the house.
Yeah. So meanwhile, in the library, the Gorch brother, the remaining Gorch brother, he actually has a somewhat decent plan. Go after the Scoobies.
Yeah.
He goes after Giles because they had that whole thing in the library. He knows Giles. Knocks Giles out. Doesn't kill him. But knocks him out, which I find odd. So he could have just killed him.
He could have just killed him. Buffy and Cordelia show up, and Buffy kills Candy.
Yeah.
With the spatula!
Yeah. Comes back. So Cordelia was right. Right after that, she kills Candy Gorch and gets knocked out herself, which I thought was a little weird. There's a lot of people losing conscious in Buffy.
Yeah, good thing one of those demon things from season 2 that took over Jenny Calendar is not around.
Definitely. And Cordelia intimidates the remaining Gorch brother until he runs away.
Yeah,
which I thought
she
was
essentially
awesome.
does what Cordelia's power is, like talking mad game.
Yeah.
She can spit hot fire, man.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm Cordelia, I spit hot fire.
No, I don't like that one.
No?
The accent's cool. No, no.
All of it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, you can have a German accent. The Germans come back, Hans and Franz, because there is a tracking device in the corsage that Buffy discovers. They come into the school. They start searching for Buffy. She uses essentially a spitball to stick the tracking device to the other German brother, and they shoot each other dead, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm. All with wet toilet paper.
Back at the mayor's office, at one point, and I think I forgot to mention this, the cops come to arrest Trick. He is brought into the mayor's office, and the mayor essentially offers him, it's a proposal he can't refuse. He realizes that he's up against somebody that he can't get over. That was my assumption, right?
He's
from
like,
Trick.
all right, hey, hi, Trick. I've been watching you. I know who you are. I'm in charge of this, bitch. Fall in line.
Yeah.
Bend the knee if you're into Game of Thrones. Brings him in. Bend your knee, bitch. I am Daenerys.
But he's a way
Daenerys?
better politician than Dany is in Game of Thrones, because he seems, and we were talking about this earlier, genuine and really nice about it. He's not. It's all a facade. Mm-hmm. He's a big politician. He's not forcing them. It's more like, hey, this is in your best interest. Because Trick has this line where he says something along the lines like, what if I don't want to do this? He's like, oh, no, you really do.
Yeah. He's just Yes, like you said, Godfather, he made him an offer he can't refuse.
After that, there's a scene, the final scene with the homecoming dance, where we finally figure out who is going to be homecoming queen.
Before that,
Buffy and...
Before, like, you get to that decision, you get that great scene. So you get to the homecoming dance, and you see Faith go up to Scott, and he's with his other date. And she goes up and says something about a doctor and the test results coming back. And the doctor says the test results will be back on Tuesday, and we can go check together. So either implying that he impregnated her or gave her an STD in front of his date, which is really, really cool for two reasons. Number one, it shows that Faith really does care about Buffy, and he hurt Buffy, so she got retaliation back on Scott. So once again, fuck you, Buffy, you're a bad friend. And then number two, it's kind of just fun to see Scott hurt, because fuck that guy. Right?
I don't even want to see him hurt. I just want to see him gone.
Yeah. We want to see him gone.
But I guess this is a good way for him to
go
leave.
away.
I don't know why they made Scott a bad person, really.
I mean, I don't think he's a bad person.
So
I think I completely agree with all of his actions. He's just so boring.
In the scope of the show, he's been nothing but nice to Buffy. Buffy has been distant, and they could have left it at that. Why did they have to have him bring another date to homecoming? Because that makes it seem like, oh, he was already interested in this girl, and that's the reason he broke up with Buffy. I feel like maybe they had to make Buffy the hero in that.
To play devil's advocate, Buffy was incredibly standoffish and incredibly distant the whole relationship that they had.
Yes.
If I were him, I would completely react the same way. I wouldn't want to go to a dance with her. I wouldn't want to go with somebody who's clearly not into me. So I would break up with her. So that being said, Faith doing that is kind of unnecessary.
It is.
And
100%.
However, but the only thing is that it really does reinforce the fact that she cares about Buffy and wants to be friends with Buffy, and Buffy isn't giving her the time of day.
I almost feel like that's like a side note. That was, and I don't know the writer's intentions. Clearly, Faith is protecting Buffy, but for no fucking reason. This is all Buffy's fault. Buffy fucked up Scott's life in a way.
He fucked up the night and his date.
Well, I maybe, granted, this isn't his fault.
Oh, and also killed his two best friends.
Yeah. Well, got one of them killed, and her ex killed the other one.
Well, I mean, I guess you could argue against that. You could blame that all on them.
True, but I don't think, and I'm all on board for fuck Scott. I don't think that scene was necessary. That was kind of dick.
Yeah,
unnecessarily.
It was also very quick. I almost didn't realize what was going on.
I feel like the writers needed that to be like, oh, Scott's an asshole, but he's really not. He wasn't.
No, he loves Buster Keaton.
If you love Buster Keaton, you're not an asshole.
I don't care.
Okay. So after that homecoming dance, Buffy and Cordelia showed up. They're
After killing everybody, and they're all messed up.
Super dirty, filthy. Also, both very beautiful at the same time, which is stupid. Their hair should be way more fucked up, not fucked up in a like perfect sort of way. But
yeah.
Anyway,
it seems like they failed to get dirty.
But that's television. So there's an announcement. It's a tie, Eddie. A tie for homecoming queen.
And the
there's
obvious
two
answer
of
would
them.
be that it's Buffy and Cordelia.
Yep.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
It's the other two.
I don't remember their names.
Push them out of the way
to get up
on stage.
Their reward and the I guess lead singer of Dingoes Ate My Children.
Babies.
Sorry.
Why children, dude?
I don't care. It sounds worse. Is holding the tiara and moving it back and forth between them. And you see Buffy and Cordelia both lose grasp of the thing they wanted the most. And also kind of come to terms with the fact that it didn't matter at all.
Yeah. No, do they? I think we're meant to feel that way, but I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not. Cordelia is probably very, very upset about this.
I feel like both of them, well, I don't know, maybe Buffy is like, okay, on to the next thing. I'm the Slayer.
Yeah. And Cordelia's like, that was it. That was my last chance to do something. No, I'm just joking. She wants to become an actress.
Yes.
But she won't.
So what do you think about this episode?
I didn't like it.
Me neither.
I didn't enjoy it very much at all. I don't enjoy talking about it all that much. I don't think it's the worst episode ever. I don't think I'm not sure who wrote this. I didn't look it up. But it didn't feel in the vein of the show. It felt like they were going into the whole idea of Buffy being a high school student and how hard it is to reconcile her life as that and a Slayer.
Which has been done.
Been done.
Over and over
We're
again.
over it. And on top of that, it's not a very funny episode. The Scooby quips and like back and forth banter wasn't there. And they were together.
No Giles.
They were together.
Almost no Giles.
No Giles. No Snyder. Yeah, it was not an episode that I really enjoyed at all. The main bad guy is Trick, and he's not even the main bad guy of the episode. Cordelia and Buffy are back at each other's throats, which is something we thought we moved on from. It's almost an episode that went in the wrong direction.
And I thought that might be refreshing. My issues, aside from everything you said, which I completely agree, I feel like there wasn't enough going on with this episode, which is funny because the last episode there was too much going on.
Yeah.
With this one, there was basically nothing. I'm kind of over the high school homecoming queen. Like you said, they've done that way too many times. There's several things that I think they kind of fucked up on or were mishits, at least for me. Intro to the mayor, I don't know.
Not as
okay
good as it could have been. It could have been so much better. If they had made it a scene where he acts really, humble and mayor-like and does something horrific and really gives you a sense of his scope and how evil he really is, it would have been a better introduction.
You like that better?
If he had flayed that guy alive or done something to show that he's evil and that we should fear him.
And I don't know about that. Maybe it's something I didn't like it, but I can't really say why I didn't like it because I don't think I would like that either. But this whole casual politician thing I think works, but something about his introduction, because it's a character that we've heard about so much, and it's like, oh, this is him? And maybe that's what we're supposed to think. It was very lackluster. Another thing I thought was a mishit for me was Xander and Willow.
It was done sloppily. It wasn't the way... that is a great idea, in my opinion. The whole idea of when they finally ended up with somebody, they finally wanted to be together. But it treats it in such a way that it almost feels like a B porn movie, like a a late time Skinamax film,
No, but how so?
It's like they start making out and start becoming totally wet of each other for no reason. It's the dialogue's not there. There's no real reason for them to start finger banging each other.
See, and the thing with that, I feel like with Xander, yes. Because his character, it's established that Xander is the type of motherfucker that doesn't think. He just acts and no repercussions. I feel like Willow should have been like, hey, no, or I don't know. Maybe it's also been established that she's been in love with Xander, and even though she's dating Oz, she's still in love with him, and this is what she wanted all along. It's just weird, and I feel like it wasn't done well enough for me.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely wasn't done well enough. This episode didn't do a good job, and I think later on there's more subtle things they do in the next few episodes that I think are done more to the scope of them playing footsies under a table, kind of getting the cheating across in a way that's not dirty and sexual.
Like it makes it up for it. I don't remember those.
I don't know if it makes up for it, but it's done.
Makes up in the way that in an audience perspective, not makes up what they're doing.
That's how I took it.
Okay.
But I'm not saying it makes up for it, but it does it in a way that I can get not behind, but understand that it's working better. It's more feasible.
Yeah.
I could see them actually cheating on their respective loved ones.
It makes sense as opposed to here where it
just
doesn't.
It's just added in, just forced in.
So I got one more issue slash minor complaint. And this episode, to me, felt like Cordelia versus Buffy. Or at least they're adversaries or something. It's pitting one against the other in some sort of competition. And
Kumite.
And of course, in the end, it resolves with them like learning a lesson and getting along. But they could have done that better, I think. I just don't know how. Maybe it's the only way they could is for Buffy to enter Cordelia's like wheelhouse of I'm popular, I'm going to be homecoming queen. But if they're going to bring the idea of Cordelia as an adversary or a villain again, which she was like in the first season, like I didn't like it as much. I think they could have done better. I do think Charisma Carpenter did awesome.
Because you never don't, because you have a total boner for her.
Well, she did. Like, you can say if I'm
You're
wrong.
You're not wrong. She did awesome.
So, yeah, those are my three. Like, kind of.
I agree. Just the episode wasn't chill. It didn't vibe, bro.
It wasn't chill. Bro.
It didn't chill, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not digging it, bro.
No, okay.
I would have enjoyed a better one.
Yeah.
I would say out of 10, I would give this one a hot dog.
All right.
How about the deaths? How many people died?
So total deaths 4.
The two brothers.
Yeah, Hans and Franz.
Hans and Franz, bad actor bros.
Killed each other. Well, they didn't have much to work with, and they didn't. Did they have a speaking role at all?
I don't think they did, and they still fucked it up. Like, you don't even get insurance with the role that they had.
I think... I disagree. I think they did a fine job
No, they don't
of
get
not
insurance.
acting. As just, like, not speaking, it was fine. They killed each other, which is still, in my opinion... Buffy killed both of them.
Yeah.
You can't... Like, what was the expectation? The expectation was that she was going to do a little spitwad with the tracking device. They were going to shoot each other, and she, in my opinion, killed them. I'm not counting that as a death for Buffy, but really...
No, I would definitely count that as a death for Buffy.
Okay, I'm not, but Buffy's responsible for so many deaths. I only want to count the deaths she actually does.
Like, by her hand.
Physically.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, she is totally... I think she's responsible for like 90% of the deaths on the show.
If you really think about it, yeah.
In one way or the other. So
you could definitely at least blame her. Like, Lily wasn't wrong when she was like, maybe you're doing this. About, like, maybe everywhere you go, you cause death. Like, Lily was right.
yeah,
Totally right about everybody.
maybe she was.
Yeah.
Except for like about the price of pie.
Yeah.
But all right, so
Can we
Hans and
buy pie
Franz
with this?
died at their own hands. There is the spiky demon, which Hans and Franz killed, right? Yeah, Hans and Franz killed the spiky demon.
On accident, yes.
And Buffy killed Candy Gorch with the spatula.
And the other Gorch,
He ran
dude,
away.
he ran away. And the guy that we thought was Kane, did he die or he just...
I don't think he died.
He's just still
I
in a bear trap.
I could be incorrect, but I thought he was in the bear trap, got loose, and then I don't know what happened with him.
He's like, I just paid $45 to break my ankle.
I feel like
$45. That's how much it cost. They pull out a bucket of money. It's like a load of money, and I'm like, $45.
it's that, not even with like
I'm so bad
ones.
at math.
So yeah, I'm not sure what happens with the resolution with his character or the main German.
Yeah, the older dude
Yeah,
that's
old German
directing
dude.
the twins.
He's directing.
He thinks he won at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, the dots on my computer screen are gone. I won.
I guess he gets arrested with Trick in that scene.
Maybe.
He doesn't die, but
That or he's in a van in the cabin waiting for the two bad actors to come back.
it's sad. Do you think they were his sons? Maybe they could have done something with him later on if he was a more interesting character.
Yeah, if anybody really cared about this episode. I think this is just falling into the same thing we always fall into, which is if you don't remember an episode, not me, because I kind of remember, I think, a little bit more than you, but when you don't remember an episode, the episode's usually pretty bad.
Correct. I completely agree, except for the fact that sometimes you remember episodes where you're like, this is what happened, and none of that shit happened.
That's true. That is very true.
But this one, I feel you were pretty spot on in your memory. Is this what you want? Do you want accolades? Accolades?
Well, I want cookies.
Okay.
But you don't ever bring cookies.
Do you want me to bring cookies?
No.
I bring beer.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
It makes me want cookies, but you already brought beer.
I'm bringing cookies, motherfucker.
I'd rather have beer.
I'll fill your belly with tons of
The
cookies.
catch-22 is beer makes me want cookies.
Really?
No. I'm just making this all up.
Dude, I honestly don't know when you're making shit up and when you're not.
My bad.
Okay, so what happens?
Next episode.
Yeah.
What is the next episode?
I'm going to say what the next episode is. And
I'm going to get a rock hard boner.
Yeah, and you go to town. I remember
Yes.
it. I love this episode. I think you love it more. Band Candy. Go.
The best Buffy episode ever. Band Candy. What can I say about Band Candy? Joyce and Ripper have sex on the hood of a police car.
For 42 minutes.
Twice.
That's the episode.
Twice. The whole episode is just that. So Snyder finds the Scoobies in the hallway and forces them to sell band candy. The entire school's selling candy to make money for the band who needs money to do band things. So essentially they start selling this candy and they find out that it's laced with some kind of magical drug because it's an Ethan. Right?
Yeah.
It's an Ethan
It makes
episode.
everybody turn into
To
their
teenage-
younger selves.
It turns everybody essentially it's what red kryptonite is to Superman. It makes everybody lose their inhibitions and act like a teen again. So we get the best Snyder, we get the best Ripper, we get the best Joyce, loser 15-year-old versions of them. And I think characterization wise, this is my favorite episode just because you have so much fun with these adults acting like kids.
It's what I'm going to say is another like global spell episode.
Yeah.
Where you can say Monster of the Week, but not really. All the rules, the typical rules of the show gets turned on its head and makes everything so much more fun.
You can also just say it's an Ethan episode.
Spike, right? Isn't Spike in this episode?
Yeah, Spike is in.
Or am I mistaken?
Everybody's in this episode. I think Spike comes back this episode.
Something happens, right?
I'm pretty sure he rolls in that car and smashes into Sunnydale.
Or is that the next one?
I think that might be the next one.
Eh.
I think Spike deserves his own episode. We have Ethan this episode. I guess that's what will be the big reveal. Is Spike in this episode? Probably not.
That's a reveal. Either way, I think maybe we should start talking about whether or not we like the episodes going in. Clearly, we both love the next episode.
I'm very excited for the next episode. One of
Only
my
because I
favorites.
think it's funny if we say like, "Oh, I totally love this episode," and then
we
shit all
hate
over
it.
it, which I don't think happens too much.
It happens once in a while. Bad eggs.
The Anne, for me,
Yeah,
Bad
Anne.
Eggs, Anne.
Yeah, because I remember going into Bad Eggs, I was like, this is going to be a great episode. And I
then I
watched
shit
it, and
all
I was
over
like,
it.
well, not just you shitting on it, but it was just a bad episode.
Well, I shit all over it because rightfully so.
Yeah. I think when you shit on it, I realized how bad it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have a question for you. How are you feeling right now?
5x5 beat.
God, you're saying that, and it's getting worse every time.
Fuck you, planes.
Especially the snakes on the planes.
I'm tired of all these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.